Hello, everyone, fight fans around the world. As you can tell, it is just me here at Fight Zone Wrapped, solo hosting. Alec Carr, co-host Monique is feeling under the weather, so I'm going to tackle this week's show alone. So please bear with me as I kind of stumble through the nonsense at the beginning. Not nonsense. We got to pay our sponsor. We got to pay our dues, pay our respects to our sponsors. As always, guys, you can follow me at AlecTDCar on Twitter. It's my personal account. Got some outlandish opinions coming out of there, specifically right now about the Philadelphia Eagles drafting that third round pick. I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but I digress. You can also follow me at Fourth and 26 Sports on Twitter. It's a Philadelphia. We're retweeting headlines, quotes, a lot of Philadelphia stuff coming out of there, but also nationwide sports content. NBA playoffs are just around the corner, so there's going to be a lot of stuff on that. And then, as always, guys, please follow Fights Unwrapped. We are the go-to for fights news, fights headlines. Me and Monique tackle it each and every week, Wednesday at 6 o'clock, of course. So please give us a follow if you're a fight fan and you're not following Fights Unwrapped. I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out. And then, as always, follow Unwrapped Sports Network on Twitter on all your platforms. You can find us on their website. You got sports news, sports articles, sports podcasts from all around the country. If you need stuff about Chicago Bears, we got guys tackling Chicago Bears in Chicago. Unlike most sports networks, we're all over the nation. Super exciting stuff coming out of there as well. So please give them a follow. And now for our sponsors, and this might be the part where I get tripped up a little bit, so just bear with me. This is Monique's normal part. Of course, our first sponsors are Hemp. Please check out rxhemp.com. Carlos Condit is an avid supporter, and if you're a fight fan watching this, you got to be a fan of Carlos Condit. I don't know anybody who doesn't like the guy. So please go check them out, rxhemp.com. Use RXN USN, RXHemp-USN to get 10% off your entire order. Again, that promo code is RXHemp-USN to get 10% off. And then our second sponsor, this is Monique's favorite sponsor, not mine particularly. But if I was going to gamble, I would visit mybookie.ag. You can use the promo code USN100 for a 100% up sign up bonus. They're matching your sign up bonus 100%. So please visit mybookie.ag today. Make sure you guys are paying attention. Some good bets probably coming up on this fight as well. All right. So that does it for our sponsors. And now we're going into our headlines. We got some pretty crazy stuff to get to. So I'm going to start off with just a minor headline, not a big deal, but it affects future cards. So we're going to, and could affect standings in the future. We're going to talk about right now Edwards versus Diaz. Highly anticipated fight, seeing the return of Diaz and Edwards fighting, controversial loss last time with the eye poke, but we got Diaz versus Edwards. It was supposed to be on 262. It's getting moved to 263, unfortunately. So we are now more than a week away from that great fight. Anytime Diaz comes back, it's a big deal. The guy puts on a show. Like him, hate him, love him. There's no in between with Diaz. Guy's a nut job. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm glad it didn't get canceled outright. It sounds like it got moved because of minor undisclosed injury from Diaz. So I'm glad they're not going to force him to try to get in there with it. That they are able to push it back, and that 263 card is absolutely stacked now. It's already Izzy versus Vettori. We got Figgy versus Moreno 2, Damian Maia versus Bilal Muhammad, Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill, and Dauber versus Rydell. And now you're adding Edwards versus Diaz. That card is absolutely stacked. I'm excited. I know Monique's is excited. If you're a fight fan, you got to be excited for this. It could have great, great effect on the division itself. Edwards is vying for a title shot. Diaz has been out of the game for a while, but he gets in this. Let's say he gets in there and he wins this fight and beats Edwards. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say it does. He automatically becomes a top ranked fighter, top 10 for sure. Probably not top 5, but definitely top 10 for sure, which puts him a Diaz brother in shot for the title, which sounds kind of, just saying it makes me pause because it sounds kind of crazy. This fight's going to be fun. We got Leon Edwards, kind of cool tempered man, versus Diaz. If Diaz wants to win this fight, he's got to take it to the ground. He's got to take Edwards to the ground, because what people always forget is the Diaz brothers. The one thing they can do, yes, they can get hit in the face and they can hit people, but they are elite ground game fighters. And if he wants any chance against Edwards, he's got to go to the ground. Again, that fight got moved to 263, so stacking that card even more. And you know what? 262 is going to survive because that card is insane in its own right. Okay, it's Oliveira versus Chandler, Ferguson versus Darus, Hermanson versus Shabazian. So they're looking just fine. All right, we are moving on. Just check comments real quick. Nothing in there, but we're moving on. To one of my favorite fighters, somebody that me and Monique have talked about, it seems endlessly at this point, getting passed up for his title shots. And that would be Robert Whittaker. This is absolutely insane. It's been my rant of the week about 3 times now. It won't be this week. I got another one teed up for you guys. So just hold on. But this is just getting insane. Coach Izzy's coach, Coach Behrman, came out saying, I'm trying to pull it up for you guys because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He was offered the fight after Whittaker's last fight against Kelvin Gastelum. He turned it down. He said, "For me, it was a strange decision. If you give us a situation, or even if you take the last fight, we're going in with multiple injuries. Certain things that you just don't turn down, no matter what. Don't matter how much family you got waiting for you, not trying to be insensitive towards family and all that. But there's certain things in sports, you reach a certain pinnacle that you've been reaching and you don't give them away. This was very unexpected. The shoe was on the other foot, fighting through, arms falling off, fighting through Adesanya's arms falling off. All my guys, their arms are falling half off. We're still fighting. When it comes to the title, the decision gets made for you. You make whatever sacrifices are necessary, but Robert makes his own decisions. He was given the opportunity, as I understand, by the UFC, and I guess it's gone a bit too early. When he turned down an opportunity like that, just like we know, when you turn down an opportunity like that, you now have to sit at the back of the list again. Now he goes into the pool again. And I don't understand. This is just blowing my mind, because Whittaker came out before this and said things like, Izzy doesn't want to fight me at full strength. I pretty much said everything but Israel Adesanya is scared to fight me. And I love Robert Whittaker, and I didn't think that was true at the time, but everything his coach is saying is kind of confirming those thoughts. Whittaker coming out of a pretty one-sided victory against Whittaker, but one where he got hurt. One know Whittaker, as I said a million times, he's a guy he's a family guy. This is a guy that's donated his own body to his family. This is a guy everybody knows Robert Whittaker is a family guy. And COVID protocols in Australia, you got to wait 14 days in quarantine before you can go back into the population. Not with your family, in quarantine. Real quarantine, isolated from the world. So, and then he would want to spend time with his family and then do a fight camp. And what this is saying is that Izzy doesn't have those issues. He'll fight anybody, no matter what. But what is funny is Izzy said already that he was fighting in June. The fight was offered to both Whittaker and Vettori. Neither of them wanted to fight in June. And Izzy said, I'm fighting in June no matter what. It can be one of you guys, but it doesn't have to be. And Vettori stepped up. Whittaker, being the family man, declined. And now his coach comes out saying he's got to go to the back of the list. It's absolutely insane. Let's look at this list real quick. I'm pulling it up right now. All right, we got Paul Acosta, who's afraid to fight anybody because he was exposed as a weak fighter. We got Vettori, who's fighting in June. We got Canier, Derek Brunson, Darren Till. And, of course, Robert Whittaker, the number one contender. Who does he have to beat? Izzy and Behrman. Who does this guy have to beat? The fact of the matter is, you should have waited. You want to prove you already fought Robert Whittaker, who wasn't 100%. You already did it. The first time you fought. You fought a Whittaker coming off a long layoff. A Whittaker has been confirmed that was not able to perform in a full fight camp beforehand. And now you want to do it again. You're giving him short notice to a point where he may have a 2-week, 3-week fight camp to prepare for one of the greatest strikers in MMA history. It's insane. It's disgusting. I'm getting tired of it. Dana White and the UFC has to step in and get control of some of these fighters and say, listen, you're not fighting this guy. You're not fighting that guy. What Dana White should have came in and said is, you're fighting Robert Whittaker. It's not happening in June, but it's happening. So you're fighting Robert Whittaker. That's the fight. That's what we're doing. It's happening in September. It's happening in October. But again, here we go. One of Dana White's, and I love it, Israel Adesanya. I think the guy doesn't turn down fights. But here we go with Dana White letting his champions get away with whatever they want. Letting his champions do whatever they want. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. So, we're going to see Adesanya versus Vettori in June. And we're going to see Adesanya destroy Vettori. And then who knows if Robert Whittaker ever gets another chance because he has to go back into the pool. It's insane. Doesn't make any sense. Hopefully the rematch happens. Wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, though. All right, moving on to our next topic. Sorry, guys, it did kind of turn into a rant, but gets me riled up. Our next topic, our next headline, be remiss if we didn't talk about this. The Diego Sanchez saga continues. Lots of insanity going on with this. And this will be my rant of the week. I want to preface this by saying I love Diego Sanchez. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Fell in love with him in watching Ultimate Fighter. Fell in love with him all over again when he fought. God, I can't even think right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm blanking. When he fought Clay Guida, showing the absolute warrior he is. This guy is the heart. You want definition of heart? It's Diego Sanchez. This guy doesn't give up. He fights no matter what. And I respect guys like that because it takes a lot to be like that, to have that mindset. And it takes even more to have that mindset in the fight game. So it's upsetting to see Diego Sanchez acting like this. It's upsetting to see his coach, Fabio, taking blatant advantage of Diego Sanchez to try to get his point across, whatever that misguided point might be. There is no coup. There is no conspiracy drawn up to stop Diego Sanchez from fighting. There is no UFC is out to get Diego Sanchez. There is none of that. None of that's happening. Diego, I plead you to retire. I plead, please, as one of my favorite fighters. I know you're never going to see this, but as one of my favorite fighters of all time, it's time to hang it up. It's time to call it quits. You have been struggling for years, and now it seems to be going to your head. I don't want to diagnose any mental issues because I'm not licensed. I'm not a therapist. There's nothing I can do, nothing that I can say um, that actually makes any sense. But what I will say is Diego loved the fight game. Diego was fighting. It's been very hard for him to give it up. Dana White has pleaded him to retire a couple of times now, but has kept giving him fights. So again, that shows he's been drug along, and this process has been drug out. And Dana White and the UFC took it as far as it could go. When Diego started speaking out against the UFC, he left them with very little choice but to force him out. They didn't have any other choice. This guy is I take out the Ferreira fight because he technically won that fight on an illegal knee. But it's just he's lost 4 in a row. Sorry, 3 in a row. One grappling bout he lost, and even before that, he was getting super inconsistent. Um, there's nothing there. Again, there's no conspiracy against Diego Sanchez. And now he's got these delusions of grandeur and these very paranoid thoughts that the UFC is going to come get him for the stuff that he said, that they're going to kill him, that he's fearful for his life. I hope his team. It doesn't sound like it because Fabio is kind of supporting his thoughts and his sentiments, but I hope his family is trying to surround this guy. I hope his team, his friends are trying to surround this guy and say, listen, Diego, it's time to get help. It's time to move on. The fight game is over for you. He was supposed to be in this card against Donald Cerrone. It's just a sad, sad thing to see a great, great, all-time great, future Hall of Fame fighter go down like this, to have his career go down like this. He did in his last post say he's been trying to reach out to Dana White. I don't know if that's true or not, but I really hope Dana White does sit down with him. I hope he sits down with him and he explains to him what's going on. I hope he sits down with him and he says, Diego, I love you, man. What you've done for the UFC, you're the first Ultimate Fighter, but it's over. You've lost 3 in a row. It's done. Your career's done. And you don't see anybody else chomping at the bit to sign this guy. So it's a sad end, but Diego Sanchez, it looks like his MMA career is over. It should be over. It should have been over 3 years ago. But he was able to extend it in 2019, 2018 by beating Craig White and Mickey Gall. But let's be honest, your career should have been done a long time ago, Diego Sanchez. And I'm going to keep rooting for you. I don't count mental health against anybody. There's some obvious mental health things going on here. And this is where the UFC needs to step in. These fighters go through hell. They get beat up. They get their heads knocked in. They just released their second version of their concussion protocol. I'd love to see that turn into something more for help for fighters after their careers are over. Because mentally, there are very little sports harder to leave than the fight game for fighters. So, Diego, I hope you get the help you need, man. All right. So here we are, the UFC Vegas 26 fight preview. Let me get it pulled up real quick. Sorry, guys. It's a great card. It's a great fight night. The card starts with Amanda Rebus versus Angela Hill. Um, I'm a huge fan of this fight, and you got the young newcomer Amanda Rebus coming off a loss against a hard fought loss against Rodriguez. Um, who I mean, no one blames her for losing that fight, but Amanda Rebus has been deemed one of the up and comers for well, for it feels like forever now. She went on that crazy streak. She's beating Mackenzie Darus, she's beating Paige Van Zandt. Um, I got her winning this fight. I think she's the better all-around fighter at this point in Angela Hill's career. So we got the savvy vet against the newcomer. I love fights like this. I love test fights. Seeing if Amanda Ribas can bounce back against another hard fight for her in Angela Hill. I got her winning. I got Amanda winning this fight. I think she's a better all-around fighter. I think she can take this to the ground and really win this fight on there. I think this gets a decision with a unanimous decision going for Amanda Rebus. Okay, moving on to our next fight. We got Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Gregor Galepsy. That's right, Gregor Galepsy is back. He had that canceled bout we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Brad Rydell. This is one of the guys that me and Monique are both very excited to see back in the back fighting again. I'm glad he was able to get another fight so quickly. This is a guy that before Kevin Lee was on let's just take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak up until 2019 when he lost to Kevin Lee. Gregor Galepsy is an absolute monster. This guy is no joke. But he's got a tough pool in Diego Ferreira, who's coming off that loss in that crazy fight in against Neal Darus in the split decision. I'm excited for this fight. I know both of these guys got a lot to prove, got a chip on their shoulders coming into this fight. Darus against Diego Ferreira. I know Ferreira is very upset with that fight, how it ended up. I agreed with the decision. But this is a really good fighter, one who's crazy good on the ground. I'm picking Diego Ferreira in this fight personally. I think he wins this fight by submission in the second round. Again, I love Gregor Galepsy. I just think Diego Ferreira might be a little bit of the better all-around fighter. It's nothing against Galepsy. I just got Ferreira winning this fight. He's gone up against a lot more tough competition than Galepsy. He's beaten Anthony Pettis. Getting a split decision with Neal Darus that's an accomplishment. I mean, it's hard to do. The guy's obviously up and comer. He's slated to fight Tony Ferguson, so can't hold that against him. It's going to be a great fight. I'm super excited, but I got this ending in a second round submission victory for Diego Ferreira. All right, next fight, and I think this fight might get bounced down the prelims. That's been happening a lot recently, where they've reshuffled the deck and reshuffled the card because there is a prelim fight that I will talk about briefly. In this fight, we got Tefan Chokwi versus Park Jun Young. Two up-and-comers in the UFC. Tefan Chokwi is an absolute monster. The UFC has invested a lot of marketing, a lot of money in this guy. He had that crazy knockout in Dana White's Contender Series with the head kick, the perfectly timed head kick. I know Dana White really likes this guy, so if Dana White's pulling for him, he'll probably get bounced up. If it does, I have Tefan Chokwi winning this fight. Guy's an absolute monster. He could very well end up being the Mike Tyson of the UFC. He hasn't even been fighting for that long. His story is absolutely inspiring. It's just an immigrant from Africa, battled through all kinds of adversity. Guy I'm definitely rooting for. Very humble. So, but his fight style is crazy. This is a guy that's got all the power in the world and has speed to go with it. absolutely terrifying. He's going to be really hard to beat in the UFC. So I got him beating this Park in this fight in a first round knockout. Um, and that's no slight to Park. I know the guy's a really, really good fighter in his own right, but Tefan Chokwi hasn't been fighting for that long. He's already in the UFC, and his kickboxing skills are absolutely insane. So look out because this fight might get reshuffled and might end up in the main card. If it does, get ready for some fireworks because they're coming. All right, back to what's slated. We got if it goes the way it says right now, which again I think it will be changed. We got Maurice Graham versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. And this is why I think this fight might get moved, because it doesn't do anything for me. And I think for most fight fans, it doesn't do anything for anybody. We got two guys that have been around for a good amount of time already. We got two guys that are very consistent fighters, and whenever they've had to fight real talent, have lost. We got two guys who have no chance of making a title run, have no chance of making a run to make it even in the top five. So I to make it quick, I think if this fight ends up on the main card, I gotta say I think Lima's gonna win this fight. I don't really know how. I'm gonna say in a third round, TKO, punches on the ground. That's the kind of fighter he is. He will bring him down to the ground. He will bring Maurice Green down to the ground. And I think it's just a wrap after that. Again, neither of these fighters are anything to brag about, which is, I think, is why he probably gets bumped down to prelims. And the Chokwi fight gets bumped up to the main card. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. Because that would be awesome. Chokwi deserves it. Park deserves it, too. These are two guys who are absolute monsters. All right, let's move on. I love this next fight. We got Neal Magne versus Jeff Neal. It's a big fight. Don't get it twisted. I know neither of these guys are really next in line for a title contention, but these are two guys who are fast risers in the UFC. We got 10 versus number 9. And the winner of this fight could actually, I could see being jumped up to number 7 or 6. We got two guys who have a lot to prove. Hold on, let me get it pulled up. My computer's acting weird. I'm sorry. Excuse the technical difficulties. We got Jeff Neal, who's coming off of that disappointing loss to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. To call it a disappointing loss is the nice thing to say. He got absolutely destroyed by Wonderboy. Which I actually picked against. I picked Jeff Neal. I thought he was going to win the fight. I thought he was the newcomer. I thought this is a guy that can do a little bit of everything. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I thought he was going to win that fight. I was wrong. I didn't realize that Wonderboy at the advanced age that he's at is the best he's ever been. It's kind of crazy that he is. And then we got Jeff Neal versus Neal Magne, who, again, is coming off a disappointing loss to Michael Chiesa, who is an absolute monster in his own right. Apparently could be next in line for a title shot, whether you agree with it or not. It sounds like it could be what's happening. I, for one, don't agree with it, but Jeff Neal, Neal Magne is coming off of that was his last loss. And the reason I'm so excited for this fight, and some people might crush me because neither of these fighters are known for super exciting fights, but they're both very well-rounded. And when you get two really well-rounded fighters that can do a little bit of everything, it usually turns into a slugfest and a chess match. And I love watching the chess matches. The one that I will draw you to was the Darren Till Stephen Thompson. That was an absolute chess match. I still don't understand how Darren Till put together the fight plan that he did. But that's what I see in this fight. We might not see a lot of fireworks, but we're going to see a lot of feints, a lot of shoot the takedown, pull up into a punch. We're going to see a lot of probably cage work, clinch work. Um, I'm very excited for this. I love watching these chess matches. It's going to be a battle of the brains in this fight, and who could be the smartest. Both fighters are extremely smart. So I guess I gotta pick one since that's why we do this show, right? If I gotta pick one, I gotta pick Jeff Neal. I think he's a better fight. I think, and honestly, it's just because that Stephen Thompson fight. I can't hold against him. Wonderful. He looked like the second best fighter in the division in that fight. Jesus really is a one trick pony. He's gonna wrestle you, and we all know that. I was very disappointed in Neal Magne not being able to turn that. I thought he was better than that. I thought he was going to be able to turn that into a standing fight. And for that reason, I got to choose Jeff Neal. I think it will be a decision. I don't think anybody's getting knocked out. I don't think anybody's getting tapped out. I think this is ultimately going to be a unanimous decision for Jeff Neal. All right, we got our next fight. One that I am, again, super excited for. We got Donald Cowboy Cerrone back. He's struggled as of late. He really, really has. The no contest against Nico Price was disappointing. He's coming off losses to Anthony Pettis, Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, and Tony Ferguson. Cowboy will fight anybody. That's what his resume shows. He fights the toughest guys. He always has. He always will. He will never turn down a fight. The guy's an absolute monster. He's a savage. Win or lose, he's gonna put on a show. He's gonna throw bombs. And he's drawing in this fight Alex Mourinho, who is a beast in his own right. Again, a guy that throws bombs. Coming off a loss to Anthony Pettis. He had beaten Reese McKee, which is nothing to ride home about. I got Donald Cerrone winning this fight. I got him winning this fight in the second round, late second round knockout. I think this is, and I think he retires. I think he takes the gloves off after this and he retires. Especially if he wins in a great fashion, like a knockout. That would be absolutely amazing. I know he might want a bigger name fighter for his last fight, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I think this might be the last fight of the great Donald Cowboy Cerrone's career. Guy's an absolute legend. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. And I think he wins this one by knockout for sure. Alex Mourinho is a good fighter. I'm not trying to hold anything against him, but I'm gonna take the talent and I'm gonna take the experience of Donald Cerrone over Alex Mourinho. Donald Cerrone has fought all the best guys and he's beaten a lot of them. So here we go, Cowboy. Back again. He was supposed to fight Diego Sanchez, if you remember, but of course, in Cowboy fashion, he could have said, let's reschedule the fight until the next one. Well, get me on the next card with somebody. But nope, that's not Cowboy. Cowboy said, bring it on. Just bring me the next guy. I don't care. I'm ready to fight. I want to fight. And that's what he's doing. I think he wins the knockout fashion. All right, let's move on to the main event. We're moving quickly. Sorry, guys, for those who are tuning in late. Monique was feeling a little bit sick today. So it's just me. You're stuck with Alec. You're stuck with just me today. The ranting lunatic is all by itself. And that's why this show is moving rather quickly. We got the next and last, the main event. We got Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson. I got to be honest. I like both of these fighters. I love Michelle Waterson. I was kind of shocked that this was the main event. Not anything against either of these fighters. It's just Michelle, and it's more because of Michelle Waterson. You know, before the Angela Hill win, she was going on a 2-fight losing streak against two of the best fighters in women's UFC history. But it just doesn't. It doesn't. Something doesn't taste right to me about it, but whatever. We got this as the main event. Marina Rodriguez is coming off a huge victory against Amanda Rebus, as I mentioned earlier. Um, it really showed how good she is, how great of a fighter she is, how great of a striker she is. Um, I know I picked against her in this fight. I thought Amanda Rebus was going to beat her, but proven wrong again. Um, I'd love to say Michelle Waterson would be winning this fight, and I want to pick her, but I'm not going to pick with my heart. I think the Karate Hottie goes down again. I think she goes down in it probably early third round. I don't know if it's a knockout. I don't know if it's a TKO, if it's decision. But I don't think this is going the distance. I got Marina Rodriguez beating Michelle Waterson in the third round. Um, both fighters are really good. We got the karate striking, which could cause problems for Rodriguez, but I gotta question how good she is, and I also think the world of Amanda Rebus. I think she's an incredible fighter. I think she's gonna fight for a title at some point. And so for Marina Rodriguez to beat that, it says a lot. It does. And Michelle Waterson losing to Angela Hill, who again is no joke in her own right, but I mean, sorry, Michelle Waterson beating Angela Hill is big, but I don't think as much as Angela Hill as I do Amanda Rebus, which is why I picked Amanda over Angela. But and because of that, I gotta go Rodriguez. I think she wins this fight. I think it's gonna be close, but I think she does end up coming in with more power, and the power ends up winning. All right, guys. So I know we moved rather quickly. I know we moved fast without the two hosts together. I hope you guys are ready next week. Wednesday, 6 o'clock, same time. We will be covering one of the biggest cards of the year. We got Charles Oliveira, one of, as you guys know, and as our viewers know, one of my favorite fighters, the guy I picked to be the champion against Michael Chandler, fighting for the title. On May 15th at Toyota Center. That card is absolutely stacked. We got Tony Ferguson versus Neal Dariush. Kind of a prove it fight for Tony and for Dariush to see how good Dariush really is. We got Jack Hermanson. We got Caitlin. I can never pronounce her name. I'm sorry. And we got Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza. That's right. Barboza's back. Was the crazy event with I love Edson Barboza, so I'm super excited for this card. So please tune in next time, guys. To fights unwrapped Wednesday, 6 o'clock, as every week we will be covering one of the biggest cards of the year. I'll be pumped. I know Monique will be pumped. And like I said, please follow us at Fights Unwrapped. We got a weekly show every Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. Me and Monique crushing the headlines, crushing the fight previews. And then follow me at Alec TD Carr, 4th and 26 Sports. And please, guys, please, I'm begging you, if you're a sports fan and you're not following Unwrapped Sports, I don't know what you're doing. You're just depriving yourself. Give them a follow. Look at their website. Read some of the articles. Watch the podcast, listen to the podcast. You'll thank me later. So that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See y'all next time. Love you. Happy fight week.